All right, part 3. We need more practice on these, so let's see another example. We have the data, and we're being asked to do both an absorption and a variable income statement. Okay, so we're going to do this together, of course, and we're going to kind of do it side by side. So let me make this screen give me a little bit more room to work in here. Okay. Let me move myself. There we go. Okay. So we have sales of 2,000 units, production of 2,400 units. Like I said, we know that we're dealing with made more than we sold situation again, so we know that the statements are going to be different. I think the easiest way, in my opinion, to see this, like I said, is a side by side. So you sell 2, you're producing 2,400. Now, if these are the production costs for 2,400 of them, I really need to figure out what the production costs are for. Sorry, there's dishes being cleaned up downstairs. I need to figure out what the production costs are for just the 2,000 units that I sold. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take each one of these and I'm going to divide them by 2,400. Okay, so I'm going to break it down. That winds up being 125 in direct materials, 48, I may have the numbers already written down, 48 in direct labor, 18 in variable factory overhead, and that's an 8, and 9 in fixed factory overhead. I'll fix that. Okay, so altogether you're looking at $200 in cost of goods sold. All right, all the cost of goods sold. So if we kind of side by side this, I think it's the easiest way to see it in my opinion. We've got absorption, and we've got variable. All right, so absorption, we've got the typical statement. So let's set this up for you. You've got sales minus cost of goods sold gives me gross profit minus my selling and administrative gives me income from operations. All right. Just so you know what I'm writing on here, I'm writing on a blank tablet. So my handwriting isn't great to begin with, but it's a lot harder when I can't see where I'm putting the pen down. All right. So sales doesn't change. That hasn't been a factor in any of these. Sales is sales. It's all about the costs. So we've got 600,000 in sales. Cost of goods sold. Well, really, we sold 2,000 units, and we know that the cost was $200 a piece. So we've got 2,000 times 200 here. Okay, so just so you know where that's coming from, which is 400,000. Kind of wish I could move it over a little bit. That gives me gross profit of 200,000. And we have selling and administrative expenses. Right here, we take them out. We're taking them out totally. I know we didn't do that in the last problem, but we had a different breakdown. We're taking all of these guys. Oh, well, we're taking them all out. Yeah. So 72,000. Like we don't have a per unit cost in this one. Okay, so that gives me income from operations of 128,000. Okay, great. All well and good, but let's see what happens on the variable. So let me set this up for us. We've got sales minus your variable cost of goods sold gives me manufacturing margin less your variable selling and administrative gives me contribution margin less fixed costs gives me income from operations. Now you should be expecting a discrepancy. We talked about that. We should see a discrepancy between the two. It's going to be all about those fixed costs. So we've got 600,000 in there. The variable cost of goods sold. Well, now we're only looking at these top 3 guys here. This one, this one, and this one, which these 3 added together, we don't consider the fixed piece because we're not taking fixed costs out per unit. We're going to take them out in their entirety. So as we're here, we took out 9 times 2,000. We took out $180,000 in costs. Yeah, that's right. We took out 18,000. I messed up my zeros. We took out 18,000 in fixed costs, so 9, right? $9 per item times the 2,000 that we sold. It's all built into this number here. We took it out. Instead, we're going to take out all 21,600 because that's the thing. We take out all fixed costs under variable, not just a portion for the ones that we sold. Okay, so anyway, back to here. We're adding these 3 variable pieces up, which is 382,000 because it is, hang on, I'll give you the math in a second. 382,000 because that is 2,000 that we sold times 191. That's the sum of those 3, the 3 top ones. Okay, so we'll kind of put that in parentheses so you know where that's coming from. Here's your manufacturing margin of 218. less the selling and administrative, right? It's 50,000. We're not worried about per unit costs here for this problem. It gives me contribution margin of 168 less 43,600. And that 43,600 in costs and fixed costs comes from all of these fixed costs and all of these fixed costs. We take them out entirely, whereas here we only took out 2,000 of them, 2,000 times 9. All right, because those we still have 2,000, or we still have rather 400 sitting on the shelves unsold that have fixed costs embedded in them. Sorry, I just realized I'm off screen. I'm making gestures. I should use this hand. All right, so we've got this discrepancy here, which is not unexpected, but I'm going to show you where the math comes from, where you can see how that happens. So if you have what you made, okay, so it's kind of separate here, a little reconciliation. We made 2,400. We sold 2,000, right? So it's a 400 difference of how many we sold, times the fixed cost per unit. Fixed cost of $9. That is going to give you your discrepancy every single time, 3,600. That's what you're going to have a difference between these, is 3,600. So it's all about, and this is kind of like a little bit crazy here, but it's a little side calculation to show you what discrepancy you can expect. So you can kind of double check yourself. It's the difference between what you made and what you sold, basically what is still sitting on, other hand, what is still sitting on your shelves, times the fixed cost per unit, which in this case is that $9. That's going to be the discrepancy between the two every single time. All right. Let's move it along here. Same kind of thing. I just kind of wanted to hammer home that point, if you will, a little bit. If you take a second to read this, fixed manufacturing costs are $44 per unit. We made that. Variable costs are $100. Production was $67,200. Sales were $50,400. So they want to know which is going to be a bit higher or lower. We already know if we make more than we sell, that the absorption income statement is going to have higher income from operations. But they want to know the difference. Well, just like I just showed you, you can look at the difference between what you make versus what you sold. Right, the difference. Basically, what's in your inventory. So if we made $67,200 and we sold $50,400, the difference between those two, which is basically my ending inventory, 16,800 units, right? Those 16,800 units under absorption will have fixed costs in them. All right, the fixed costs are $44 each. That comes out to be $739,200. That's going to be the difference between the absorption costing income statement and the variable income statement. Okay. I don't know, what do we want to say this? Discrepancy, difference between the two. I should probably really say that's ending inventory. Okay, so just so we have a difference here. That's going to be your discrepancy between the two statements if you did them all the way out. All right. I feel like we've done a bunch of these. In class, I kind of have us do one more round, but I feel like in the video, you guys have had enough of this. So I just want to tackle one more thing. I'm going to do one more video, and we'll call it a day for this chapter.